All right, so yesterday, welcome everybody again. Thank you all for joining. All right, so yesterday we finished the parts of the aeroplane. Okay, we went and saw the actual plane, its wings, ailerons, elevators, rudders, horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer, the trimmer. Uh, there we saw the flaps, we saw the landing gear, on different types of aircrafts. Yeah. Then we also saw different the turboprop engine, propeller, as we went through it yesterday. Prop means propeller, and the multi-engine turbine turboprop engine as well. The only thing we couldn't see was the jet engine because the airport is small. We couldn't see a jet engine, but you can see the working is very similar. We saw low wing, high wing. Okay, we saw the retractable landing gear. Okay, and as you can see in the picture, the different parts of the aircraft, which you all need to remember always. Okay, for this honor. Also, we finished the six pack, the different instruments inside. Okay, uh, the airspeed indicator, artificial horizon, altimeter, turn coordinator, directional indicator, and a vertical speed indicator. Okay, that's your six
Prashant,
pack.
can
Ah,
you explain like one is corresponding to which one? Because I think I'm also a little confused on one is corresponding to which one.
okay, so the
Yeah.
six pack, yeah, the main instruments of the six pack are the airspeed indicator is a separate indicator. It takes your the speed of the aircraft. Okay, airspeed indicator. It indicates the speed of your aircraft. Now, your artificial horizon, just by the name, if
We
you
just want. I just want to know if you can point out which one is what in the
okay,
screen.
number
Yeah.
one is airspeed indicator. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
number
Yeah.
one, it says how fast your aircraft is going. Okay, that is the function of the instrument named one in the picture. Okay, so that is like your speedometer in your car. Okay, that one tells you how fast you're going. All right, number two, that is your artificial horizon. Okay, as you can know from the name, artificial is not real, and horizon, the horizon of where the sun comes up, yeah, where it is the earth below and the sky above. That is your horizon. So you have an artificial horizon inside the aircraft so that you can see at all times. If you can see the orange color mark on the artificial horizon, that is your aircraft. Okay, you see the blue on top and the brown below. The blue on top says the sky is on top, and the brown below is the ground below. Okay, so if you're flying straight and the aircraft is straight, the orange line is going to be on the horizon. That is between the sky and the earth in like on the instrument. Okay, so that is the function. So if your aircraft is going up, you'll see that on the artificial horizon also it will go up. That means it will be in the blue. That means you're going up. If you're coming down, it will be on the brown. That means you're coming back down to earth. Okay, and then the same function, you see the small triangle on the at the top of the instrument and the artificial horizon. Just on the top, it is pointing straight up like that. That small triangle, it goes left and right. Exactly, Roland. That one, it goes left and right, showing you if your aircraft is going straight and not turning to the left or turning to the right. Okay, that is your artificial horizon. Okay, number three is your altimeter. Okay, altimeter shows you your altitude. Okay, how high you are above the ground. Okay, that is your altimeter. And it is given in 0 is 0, 1 is 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet. We go all the way to 9,000 feet. And then again to 0. If you go the whole circle to 9,000 feet and then you go to 0 after that, you have gone to 10,000. You have not gone back to 0. Okay, just just explanation for that. Well, the next is the turn coordinator. All right, number 4 is called the turn coordinator. So you can see in the picture, there is a small aircraft and there is a balance ball just underneath the aircraft. Okay, there's a small uh, ball in the middle that is called your balance ball, and there is an aircraft on top. When you turn left or right, that turn indicator is also going to turn left or right according to what you're doing. That ball that you see underneath, that is going to go to the left or go to the right. That correction is the yawing. All right. So like how we learned yesterday, the wings will help you to turn. So when you turn with the wings, the aircraft still needs to balance itself. So that ball will help you balance or inform you how to balance the aircraft. Okay. So if while turning to the left, if the ball goes to the right, you will step on the right rudder. Okay, yesterday we went and saw what the rudders are. They are the pedals at the bottom of at your feet. Yeah. So if you're turning to the left and the ball, which is supposed to be in the middle, goes all the way to the right, you will step on the right rudder. So the rule is, just for explanation purposes, always step on the ball. If the ball is on the right, step your right rudder. If the ball is on your left, step your left rudder to always put the ball in the middle. So that is your balance ball and your turn coordinator, okay? The next we go to number 5, which is your directional indicator. Yesterday, somebody asked the question of how do you know there's no roads in the sky? How do you know where you're going? That is how you know where you're going. It's called a directional indicator, okay? So like how you can see, there are headings of 0 to 359, okay? 0 degrees, 1 degree, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 359. Okay, we don't call it 360 because 360 is the same as 0. Okay, so according to that, according to where you want to go, you will go that heading. That is your directional indicator. It shows you the direction in which you are traveling. Okay. The last one that we have is your vertical speed indicator. The vertical speed indicator is how fast or how slow the aircraft is climbing or descending. Okay, climbing or descending, going up or going down vertically. So now if the needle, like in the picture, you see that the needle is all the way up to 10. That means the aircraft is climbing up. If the needle was down, the aircraft is going down. If the aircraft is in the middle, that means it's going straight. Okay, so those are the 6 back instruments of our aircraft that you all need to know for this honor. Are there any questions from you all around today for this 6 back instruments? Okay, if there's no questions, then we can move on to the last part of our different category of aircraft, okay, which is your helicopter or your rotary type of aircraft. All right. Oh, sorry, I forgot this. So this was our control column. Okay, your yoke. Okay, your rudder, which you use left or right. okay, your throttle, your mixture, okay, and you have your small trimmer there on the side. All right. Roland, can you show them the trimmer on the just next to that on the right hand side of you? Yes, if you can see that, right? That is the trimmer for the nose. Can you see in what direction that trimmer is? It is horizontal, not vertical, yeah? So that one, that is called the trimmer for your nose, okay? Your nose trimmer. That is your nose trimmer. The other one on the left of it, that is your horizontal trimmer. So not all the aircrafts have two trimmers. All the aircraft have the horizontal trimmer, or sorry, the vertical trimmer always. Okay, the horizontal trimmer, which is that way, that is not in all aircrafts. Okay, so that is just something extra for you all to know. All right. So I think the parts of the aircraft you all are familiar with now. If you see an airplane, you will actually know which part is what. I trust you all know that. All right, so we can move forward. Yeah, we can move to the next one. Okay, so helicopter. We already know that the aeroplane, the engine is there. The engine is connected to a propeller that is in front of the aircraft. This whole principle of in front of the aircraft, you rotate it upwards and the propeller is on top. Okay? The only difference, the propeller is on top. Okay? For aircraft, the engine is here and the propellers are in front. Helicopter is on top and the propeller is on top of the aircraft, not in front. The only major difference. Okay? So as you can see from this, it can take off vertically up and land vertically down. Okay, it doesn't need a runway like an aeroplane. Uh, it just needs enough power to vertically take off and vertically land. All right. So this is done by spinning rotors. Now they are called rotors, not propellers, because they are rotor type of aircraft. So they are called rotors, okay? So a helicopter has rotors, even though if you cut the rotors down to a nice size, they can become your propellers, okay? So it's always just a good way to understand it is you stretch out the rotor. It's a big rotor for aircraft because it needs more energy to vertically take off. It doesn't have wings to create a high pressure and a low pressure. So it uses rotors and the angle of the blade. Okay, so there'll be a demonstration just after this slide, but just to help you understand that demonstration more, the point at which the rotors are stuck to the main shaft of the helicopter, yeah, that small shaft that you see, that portion of the connecting, okay, this is the main rod. You have one rotor, another rotor, yeah, you have three. So that rotor, when it starts, it's straight. Once you want to take off, it gets a small angle so that it lifts off. When you want to come down, the angle reduces and it comes back down. Okay, so it's the blade motion. So when you want to go up, the blade will go up and you lift off. When you want to come down, the blades come down and you come down. Okay, so that is how the functioning of a helicopter works. Right, we can go to the next slide. Right, so as you can see, these are the few parts of the helicopter. Okay, you have the rotor mast where all the rotors are connected to. You have your tail rotor, your main rotor, your landing skids, and your cockpit. Okay, you see the side of it just behind and under the rotor is where the engine is placed. Okay, So this is how a simple rotor type of aircraft looks like and operates. Okay, we'll just watch a short video after this, and just for a little bit better understanding of how a, a rotary motor works, just similar to our normal fixed wing aircraft. Okay. All right. So as you can see, the use of the wing is the same use of the rotor. The reason the rotor has to keep spinning that high, uh, yes. Okay, let me just finish what I was saying. I'll come back to you, Nikita, and answer that question. All right, so the rotor needs to spin way faster than a normal propeller because it has to keep the aircraft stable going up and going down, and also keep it in focus, keep it in the air, focusing on lift and producing lift plus stability, okay? So that's the only function of a rotor. That's the only difference of a rotor type of aircraft and a propeller and a fixed wing type of aircraft. Okay. So like you can see their controls are also a little bit different. Okay. Their control column is a little bit different, but it's not in our syllabus. But as you all can understand, it will for sure have a control column. All right. You have seen how a control column looks like. It will have something to control the lift, something to control coming down, okay, climbing and descending, and it will have another control which is on the tail rotors, okay, to go left or right. Like how we have the rudders in the aircraft, we have the tail rotor to help it go left or right, okay, and they have the same function. The angle of the blade turns to maintain it go left or right. Right. And to answer that question, yes, you need a different license for a helicopter because it is under a different category of aircraft. It is not under the same category of aircraft. Okay. So now we come to uh, gliders. What just from the people here, what is the difference you see in these gliders and the aircraft that we've been talking about all this while? Let's go, people. What's the difference that you see? What is missing in this picture for gliders?
Engine,
No engine.
Engine. There we go.
propeller.
Okay, no engine, no propeller. Some of them don't even have a proper landing gear, right? Okay, but everything else is there, right? It has a wing, it has a fuselage, it has a tail wing, it has a horizontal stabilizer, it has a vertical stabilizer, yeah? So the principle it works on is these gliders cannot start off from the ground. Okay, if they start off from the ground, they have to have some external force pulling them so that they can use their speed to create lift. Okay, so the principle it works on, imagine if you throw something from up going down, it's going to go faster. Okay, whether you like it, you don't like it, you believe it, you don't believe it. That's the way gravity works. So if you have a glider and it's in the area, once it starts getting slow, they put the nose down to get more speed. Once they collect enough speed, they pull the nose up again, and that momentum carries them and gives them extra lift. Okay? So their principle always works on we need to go fast or we need to be in places of wind. Remember, yesterday on I think it was our first class, Ranjit sir asked, how do you take off or land? And the answer was always into the wind. So what these guys do with the gliders, they find out how the wind is behaving in a certain area, and then they take the gliders off. And then they keep catching that wind that is flowing into them and then keep gaining lift in that way. All right, so that is how gliders work. They don't use engines, they don't use anything, they use your body as a weight. Okay, that's why usually it's just one person, and they use that weight. Since the aircraft is already light, they use the speed of the air to create lift over the wings instead of engines. Okay, so that is just the simple working of a glider. All right, so the next we have our power lift aircraft. Before you go to the next slide, Roland, just one sec. What if I tell you guys power lift, what do you understand? Power lift. What do you guys understand? Power plus lift. What will it have? Or what will it need to use if something is called or something has a power lift?
Strong engine.
Engine, thank you. Simple, guys, very simple. The answer is the simplest thing that you can think of, okay? So powered lift, it has an engine, simple. So we're just going to see just, I think, one or two different power lifts. And the similarity with the power lift is it has an engine, it has rotors, but it is not as long as rotors. Yeah, they are modified somewhere between a propeller and a rotor. I don't know if you can see this picture that is in front of you. They are not as long as the helicopter blades, but they are not as short as the Cessna propellers. Or I hope you're getting what I'm trying to tell you, yeah? Like the propellers are not as big, not as small. They're somewhere in between. So these propellers or these turbine engines, okay, these can help you take off vertically. Once you take off vertically, they rotate downwards and then help you move forward. Okay? Okay, so a helicopter, it goes straight up and it continues flying in that direction. These ones, the rotors help it go up and then they turn to face forward and then become aircrafts. Okay, so they are half rotary and half, so that's why they say power lift. Only power is mainly used to lift the aircraft up. Airflow is not used to lift the aircraft up like normal aircrafts that need a runway. That's the only difference between power lift aircrafts and the normal aircrafts that we have. Okay. Then we are at the last part of our lighter than air aircrafts. I think all of you know this is called a balloon. You have filled it up on birthday parties a million times. Okay. The only the only difference between this balloon and the balloons we fill at home is these balloons are big, okay, the mere size of it. And the second difference is constant or a controlled supply of warm air is pushed into the balloon. Okay, so once the hot air is pushed into the balloon, the cold air that is in the balloon starts coming out. And now this warm air that is inside the balloon makes the balloon lighter than air. Okay, air has weight. We know when you fill a balloon up for birthday parties, unless it is helium or one of those light inert gases, the balloons don't stay up in the air. So that same principle, once the air is warm, the balloon starts lifting up. The cold air starts coming down. As soon as the air on top starts becoming a little bit cooler, again, another burst of warm air is sent blasting into it to maintain it. So while starting, they send a lot of warm air so that, you know, the balloon can go up. Once the balloon is up, then they just little bit, just to maintain that warm air inside the balloon. All right. So that is how a balloon works. It doesn't have an engine. It just has this gas that produces a flame and produces hot fire for the balloon to get that air to make it a lighter than air flying machine. All right. And for another lighter than air, the last one we have is a blip. Okay, these are not in use anymore, or very rarely are used. Okay, you can see it has a small place for people to sit. The balloon is huge and it's filled with a lifting gas. Okay, it's filled with a lifting gas, like any gas that is lighter than air, and use most of the time they use helium because that is very light. Okay, so once they fill it up, you can see it has a horizontal stabilizer, it has a vertical stabilizer, and it has a small fan type of engine behind to propel it in front. Okay, the principle it uses is the same principle that a submarine uses. Yeah, like the submarine, once you want to go up, it releases air bubbles, so it becomes light. Okay, if you want to go down, it gets more water into a specified vent and makes it heavier so it can go down. That is the same thing this does. Once it wants to get lighter, it has a few vents. They open the vents, goes up. When you want to go, close the vents, becomes heavy, comes down. Okay, so that is how the blip, or a lighter than air airship, stays in the air. All right, so that is the whole conclusion of our lesson for this honor.
Can you explain what is this ballast? It's written over here. The balloonets act like ballast tanks, holding
Blasting
heavy.
tanks, that's why I said, like, those are the holding areas, yeah? So
What
those
is
tanks,
ballast? What is ballast?
blast tanks, like
Oh,
they hold in air and blast it out when it wants to go down or when it wants to climb up. You see, it holds the air. Okay, like how they have pockets. That's why I said, like how a submarine has their tanks for air and water when they want to go up and when they want to go down. These ballonets act like blast tanks holding heavy air. So they hold heavy air. So now if you have heavy air, what are you going to do? Do you think you can climb up? No, right? So when you want to become lighter, they blast out the air, becomes lighter, you go up. When you don't want to go up and you want to come down, the vents close, become full with heavier than air, and it starts coming down. All right. All right. So that is how these works. And these ones are not in use anymore that much unless you go to Europe and advertising and all that stuff. But for people to actually sit in this, it's not, they don't use it anymore. All right. So this was fun. Are we going to go through the questions for the test just for like that, or
go
is it
through everything.
okay? Okay. All right. So like how we've learned, yeah, we start with what is an aircraft, the most basic, simple understanding of an aircraft, yeah. Once we know the basic understanding of an aircraft, we've already said it's any machine that can fly. Okay, any machine capable of flying. All right. Then we go to different the classifications of the aircraft, okay, or different types of aircrafts. We have two categories, okay? Oh, we have different categories of aircrafts, yeah. So we have aeroplanes, we have helicopters, we have gliders, power lift, lighter than air, okay? So the ones that we use and the ones that we've actually seen is the aeroplane. and the different types or classes of aeroplane, which are also the different types of engine that an aeroplane uses. Okay, single engine piston, multi-engine piston, turboprop, which is a turbo propeller, turbine propeller engine. Okay, we have seen multi-engine. We have seen the airline industry which uses turbojet engines. Okay, so these are what we have seen in the different classifications. Okay, then we have special type of ratings if you want to fly at night. Okay, it's not the same as flying as day. If you want to fly with instruments, flight instructors, okay, all these come under a special rating that you need to get before you take the aircraft and do these activities. Okay, the next is Bernoulli's theorem. What is his theorem? Okay, if something is flowing, the velocity and the pressure have to always be equal. Okay, so the speed of what fluid is flowing and the pressure have to be equal. Okay, so if the pressure increases, the speed will decrease to maintain that same equality. Okay, so how does this apply in our flying? Okay, so now since these two, they have to always be equal, pressure, velocity. So if the air going under the wing goes slower, it needs to have a higher pressure to balance out the low pressure on top of the wing. So if it is low below, it has to be high on top. If it is high on top, it has to be low below. All right, it has to always balance itself. That is the whole principle that Bernoulli explained, that how pressure is always equal. All right, so now we know that the velocity under the wing is slow moving air. If it is slow moving air, pressure will be higher. On top of the wing, it is high moving air, so pressure is less. Therefore, pressure always wants to flow from low to high. So it wants to push the aircraft up always. Okay, after we finished Bernoulli's theorem, we went to the four forces in the aircraft. One force takes it front, one force stops it from going front, one force keeps the aircraft in the air, one force wants to stop the aircraft from being in the air. Okay, so those are the four forces we have on the aircraft. After that, we went to the different designs of a wing. Okay, there are different, the axes of aircraft. We have the longitudinal axis about which the aircraft rolls. Okay, it rolls. Then we have the lateral axis in which the aircraft goes up or the aircraft comes down, the lateral axis. And then we have the, the vertical axis or the normal in which the aircraft goes left or right. All right. So these are the three main axes that are there on an airplane. All right. After that, we have, I think it was our types of engines. Okay, single engine, the way it looks, the way it works. Okay, everybody who was there yesterday, I think you saw this exact design of the aircraft that was that I showed you all. Yes, that one. That is the single engine piston. It has four different pistons, which I explained to you yesterday. It's housed like that. Inside there, there's a rod, okay, or a shaft that keeps going up and down like a hydraulic motor, you know, to create energy. That's a single. This is a multi. We saw a a turbo prop engine, okay, multi-engine and single engine. Then we have the turbojet engines, which are used for the big boys or the aircrafts above 5,700 kgs. Okay. After that, we have the wing designs. All right, the different types of wings. They have your high wing, low wing. You have your dihedral. You have your swept-backed. Dihedral for aviation. You have your swept-backed for your military. Your high wing and low wing are for most of the aircraft that you see for training. Okay, you have your landing gear for snow. You have landing gear for water. And then the most important one, retractable landing gears, which the aircraft, I mean, with the landing gears, your two main landing gears and your nose wheel retract into the aircraft for better streamlined motion or for smoother flow of air over the surfaces of the aircraft. Okay, and then we go to your parts of an airplane. Okay, you have your spinner in front, you have your propeller, your engine, your nose gear, your main gear. You have your two wings. Okay, you have your two wings. Once you have your wings left and right, you have your ailerons, which are on the each corner of your wing. The inside part is your flaps, which we saw yesterday, which close and open. After your flaps, you have your elevator and your rudder behind, and you have your horizontal stabilizer and your vertical stabilizer, which help keep your aircraft stable. Okay, the whole back section is known as your empennage. Okay, you know, we studied about your fuselage, the whole body of the aircraft. Now, if you take your vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer, your rudder, and your elevator, those four components are known as your empennage. Okay, they call your empennage, the back portion of your aircraft. All right. Then we had your instruments, your six-pack airspeed indicator telling you the speed and how fast you're going. You have your artificial horizon, which tells you the position of your aircraft, whether it is straight, whether it is going down, whether it is turning left or whether it is turning to the right, or whether it is straight and level. Okay, then we have your number three, your altimeter. Your altimeter tells you how high you are. Okay, your height, altitude. Okay, your turn coordinator and the balance ball. If you're turning to the left and the ball is not in the middle, you will always step on the ball. Okay, you have your directional indicator, number five, showing you which direction you're going in. You're going, if you're going to the left, the direction indicator will turn and show you a particular heading that you are going to. Okay, so the heading will be one of the 360 numbers. Okay, so you will be going a heading of 120 or a heading of 090. Okay, that is your heading according to the compass. All right. Then we have your vertical speed indicator. Your vertical speed indicator shows you exactly if your aircraft is going up, how fast it is going up, or how slow it is going down, or how fast it is going down. Okay, or if it is in the middle, you are going straight and level. All right, after that, we saw the few different, the flight controls. Once we saw the flight controls, we saw what the aileron does. You have your control column, which is your yoke. You pull it, your aircraft goes up. You push it, your aircraft goes down. Okay, you turn it to the left, your aircraft rolls to the left. You turn it to the right, your aircraft rolls to the right. You have your rudders. You press your left rudder, the aircraft yaws to the left. You press the right rudder, the aircraft yaws to the right. Okay? Your trimmer, if you want to hold your aircraft, you're climbing and you don't want to hold your aircraft there. Like yesterday, your autopilot, use your trimmer. Instead of holding it all the way there, just use your trimmer, release, it will hold it there, okay? Your throttle, what did we say yesterday? Throttle is for what, guys? Just a reminder.
Power, RPM.
Okay, RPM, right? So power controls your RPM, not your speed. All right. Power for your throttle is for power and RPM. Then we have your mixture, which is the amount of fuel you add into your engine for burning. Okay. Once we finish that, we went to your helicopter and your different types of rotary type of aircrafts. Okay, the only difference is vertical takeoff, vertical landing. Okay. One more thing, the helicopters use the same type of engines that aircrafts use. Okay, piston engines or turbine engines. Okay, depending on, again, we come back to the size of the machine. Okay, the bigger the size of the machine, that will determine whether you need a piston or a turbine engine. Okay, so then we move back to our main gliders. They have no engines, so they glide through the air. All right. So once you're finished with gliders, we went to power lift aircrafts. These use a machine to lift them up. Okay, once they are up, they have the basic workings of an aeroplane, and they use the same engines that took them up to now continue flying in the air. Okay, heavier than air, vertical takeoff aircrafts, which use power lift devices. All right. Then we have lighter than air, which are your normal balloons and your blimps. Okay, these two they are lighter than air, and they use inert gases to stay in the air, or lifting gases to stay in the air. All right, so that is our class, and I hope all of you enjoyed it. Always remember that there is this verse that I don't know, it's somewhere in Psalms, but it says, the angels of the Lord encamp around those who love him. So always keep that in mind, whether you're in the air, whether you're taking a class, whether you're listening. Just remember that it's always nice to be aware of your surroundings, and remember that you're pathfinders and you're called pathfinders for a reason. It's not something that you take lightly. And trust me when I tell you, what you learn in your adventures and your pathfinders, from Sunbeam to Busy Bee, from friends, companions, explorers, all the way to guide, your master guide, your advanced master guide, you will use it and you will apply it in the most bizarre way, or the most unexpected way, because it stays with you no matter where you go or how far you go in life. So enjoy being pathfinders, and it's always a pleasure to help get our honor in pathfinders. God bless you all, and thank you all so much for being a part of this class. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. And just before we want to take a group photo as well. Just that now for this honor, we have open Google Forms. So you all will have to fill up your Google Forms and send it. We'll accept responses until July 15th. That gives you 2 weeks. Till July 15th, we'll be accepting responses. After that, we are closing the accepting of responses. The Google Forms will be put on when the YouTube we are upload on YouTube. It will be a link, as also our Facebook page. The link to get all your activities honors done, and then we'll go from there. Fine. If everyone can please open your camera, so at least we can just have a group photo on this one. Whoever is willing, can you open your cameras? We don't have much time. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, tell us when to smile, man. Don't simply take the picture and everybody start looking.
Okay. One second. Let me. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Right.
Just give me 1 second, one minute. Just trying to do it. And just one more.